welcome to day 3 of the Journey to Social Entrepreneurship Summit, virtual summit. It's been really fun. We've had some great speakers, and I just kind of wanted to give our opener. So this event is brought to you by the Next Generation of Service, which is an online alternative career center for young people interested in adding a year of service to their career path, and the Positive Impact podcast, which features social entrepreneurs, some of which have started in service and some have not. Alex Black-Pollock and myself, Anna Lenhart, are both AmeriCorps alums. So it's been really fun to bring this event and host this event for the national service movement, and just for social entrepreneurs and innovators and people who are really trying to make a difference. So we have a lot of partners who have helped us spread the word about this event. And one is serviceyear.org. Blab has been incredibly helpful. Hannah is here again today, helping in our green room and helping us with any technical difficulties we might be having. And then we also been working with Ashoka U, and they've been great as well. But we've also been working with the Aspen Institute's Franklin Project, and I'm really excited. During this opener, we're going to have Jay, the director, come in and speak, and here he is. Hi, Jay. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So I didn't want to give your full title because I know things are changing. So I'll let you introduce yourself a little bit.
Hi, everyone. Jason Mangone here. I am formally, up until like a week and a half ago, known as the director of the Franklin Project. I'm now the COO of an organization called the Service Year Alliance, which is a new 501c3 that is a merger between the Franklin Project, Service Nation, and the Service Year Exchange, which are 3 organizations devoted to making a service year a common expectation and opportunity for every young American.
Awesome. Thanks. So tell us a little bit more about the Franklin Project, or now the Service Year Alliance's vision and the work that you all are doing.
Yeah, absolutely. So the vision is pretty self-explanatory. We want to make a service year, which to some people looks like AmeriCorps, to some people looks like Peace Corps, to some people looks like doing a year of service in a local nonprofit. We'd actually count all of those opportunities. So a service year for us is anyone making a long-term commitment where their primary work is essentially service. And the reason that we believe in this vision, it kind of comes down to 3 things. Number one, we think that if every young American had the opportunity to serve, it could solve some of our most pressing challenges. Number 2, we think that it's an opportunity to invest in leaders and transform young people's lives. And then number 3, if we actually got to a point where we had service at scale, it could be an opportunity to unite our nation through common experience.
Thank you. Yeah, and just to give a little bit more background too with the service year, they're mostly all paid and stipend is really what we're aiming for, right? So being able to cover your living expenses while serving is kind of built into that expectation as well. And so what made you want to dedicate your life to this movement?
Yeah, so I think so I served in the Marine Corps from 2006 to 2010, and I think that experience kind of made me feel like if everyone had the opportunity to serve, then everyone had the opportunity to feel like they're part of something bigger than themselves. It could fundamentally change the country. Just really quickly, the reason I believe that, oftentimes when people hear that you serve in the military, especially, the thing that they're most excited about is just the feeling that, man, there was a period of your life where you were in a team and you were dedicated to something bigger than yourself. And that's true. And being dedicated to something outside oneself is really powerful. But at a certain point, the most effective units stop caring necessarily about the particular mission at hand and stop caring about the idea and start focusing on one another. And once you get to the point where you transcend the mission and you're focusing on the people in your team, this weird thing happens that whatever mission gets put in front of you, you have the confidence, not as individuals, but as a unit, that you can confront whatever's in front of you. So if you look at the types of challenges that our country, that our generation is going to have to face down, man, what a wonderful thing it would be if everyone had the type of experience where, they started unified behind a common mission, but then they transcended to the point where they had so much confidence in one another as a team that they felt like they could face any challenge in front of them. So that's why I believe in it, and it's why I think it's the most important thing we can do.
Yeah, and so Senator McChrystal, who actually founded the Franklin Project portion of the Service Alliance, he was recently on a panel, and I loved what he said, and I had never thought about this before. He said, we used to have a Congress where everyone served, mostly in the military, but there were some Peace Corps alums and AmeriCorps alums thrown in. And Democrats, Republicans, they all served alongside each other. So when it got to, a bill was on the table, they could work together, right? Like even if they had fundamental worldview differences, they could still get things through Congress and make change because they had worked together on these other missions out in the field. And that was like so striking because now we have some of the lowest number of veterans in our Congress right now. And that was like, and we have this bipartisan just gridlock. And so really thinking about, even from the civil service lens, if everyone in Congress had started their year of service or had started their career with a year of service, whether that be through City Year in a school or Habitat for Humanity or in a nonprofit, they will have all worked on poverty issues, on education issues together. And even if their worldview is different, we could see a lot more get through. I thought that was really an interesting angle that he took. So
yeah, and just to like the point of putting civilian and military service side by side, mm-hmm. It's not really military versus civilian. It's serving a higher cause.
Right.
And whether that's civilian or military is ultimately immaterial. And to your point about what would Congress look like if everyone had done a year of service mm-hmm. early on in their life, well, when you see something up close, things look a lot different. Things mm-hmm. look differently when you have the perspective of being a part of it. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I definitely have noticed, I was in AmeriCorps Vista and I served with 2 other Vista members. The 3 of us are still really close and very different backgrounds, very different worldviews coming in together. We're still very close. And when I meet other AmeriCorps out and about, like we all instantly connect on that. Even if we didn't serve alongside each other, we still are able to connect on our service. And I found now that I'm working more with veterans in this role as the Franklin Project Ambassador, I'm noticing if there's that similar, I call it like just a heart for service, and it yep. can link on that too, even though like I've never really been in the military world at all, and then even like Alex, so Alex and I work together, and Alex is an AmeriCorps alum, and it's really easy for us to work together, and we get it. We don't have to explain this stuff. So it's cool to think about how that transcends. So when you think about sort of other social issues that you think national service or just service year programs could solve, what's another one that you're really passionate about?
Yeah, absolutely. So in addition to uniting the country, we kind of the other 2 big things are the ability to transform lives and also solve big problems. So I'll start, solving big national challenges as one. The modern national service movement has been around for about 25 years and is, the widest known AmeriCorps programs are subsidiary to America. Around education specifically, national service just drives, really kind of outpaces the field in terms of interventions that drive positive educational outcomes. And frankly, I'll say 2 things. Number one, across education, conservation, disaster relief, health and wellness, those areas you can find a lot of national service. But as we're looking to grow the service year community from about 65,000 positions today to our ultimate goal of 1 million, one of the ways that it's going to need to grow is for the idea of a service year to be viewed as an impact strategy for every issue area, not just kind of the handful that it is today. And then kind of the other challenges that national service can help to face down are in that bucket of individual transformation. So it provides an opportunity for a young person to get out of their comfort zone, do something hard, and
be a
skills
leader.
that are critical.
Yeah, tomorrow we're going to have Elizabeth Barrett, who's also a Franklin Project ambassador and a therapist. She's going to be coming on and talking exactly about that. Like, how do we use a year of service to heal anxiety and depression that so many young people are carrying from just this intense pressure and various things. And I know I definitely went into my year of service with an anxiety disorder. I mean, like a diagnosed anxiety disorder that was very much healed in part by the work that I was doing. I wasn't expecting that, but that's what happened. And it's a great alternative, outcome kind of on the side that we don't think about all the time. And also to your point on education, we had Alicia Harold on Monday, who is a Teach for America alum and then ran the program and started My Ed Match. And she talked a lot about just the impact that TFA does in making education leaders who then change the sector. And then also just the power of City Year. And our first speaker today is going to be a City Year alum. So we'll hear more about that and just, closing that gap there. And there's so much more room for even more of those positions. And like you said, every other issue area too. But even in that sector. And I worked in women's recovery, so that, which isn't like a necessarily huge sector, but I was part of AmeriCorps Vista. And so I was doing capacity building for that organization. So cool. And then what was your third point? So there's individual transformation.
So it's individual transformation, solving big natural challenges.
And also to the point of, so this conference has been focused on creating social entrepreneurs, right? How you can use a year of service to give you the skills. If you want to start your own thing, be a freelancer, it can give you the skills for that. But also just to be a leader in any sector that you decide to go into. I think back to how much responsibility I was given at 20 years old. And then when I finally at 25, I think I worked for a company for the first time as an entry-level employee. And I was just could not believe how little they would let me do. And I think people just don't even realize how much responsibility someone who was in AmeriCorps, Peace Corps, any other service year has on their plate, and how prepared they are to actually do a real job when they hit the workforce. So I don't know if you have any stories on that.
No, I mean, I think I'll be kind of general, but listen, even in my current job, the feeling is, we have a really big vision and we're grinding towards something huge every day. But outside of the service context, they're, hey, let's get this PowerPoint deck done. And when you're thrust into a service role as a young person, you are thrust into what is ultimately an intractable problem. You're not going to solve education in your year of service. I wasn't going to solve the conflict in Iraq in my 7 months there. As a young person being placed in a problem whose solution exceeds your personal bounds to solve is a really good lesson in terms of grit and persistence. Any problem worth working toward exceeds the bounds of a single individual. It's probably a single lifetime. So being thrust in that position at a young age is just a tremendous
and so much more and so much room for ideas and initiative to be taken too. Does anyone out in the audience have questions for Jay, comments? You can definitely check out. So right now they're switching everything over to the Service Year Alliance, but you can still Google Franklin Project, Service Year Alliance. You'll find them. We also, the Next Generation of Service also posts that stuff a lot too. We all kind of work together. So definitely check them out. A lot of people are joining. Does anyone want to say where they're from or if they've done a year of service? Go ahead and put that in the chat box. We've got quite a few people on today. Probably excited to see Josh in a little bit. All right. Yeah.
And one thing that since this conference is focused on social entrepreneurs, we recently launched something called a Service Year Exchange, which you can find at www.serviceyr.org, which provides an opportunity for young people to find service year opportunities an
Yeah.
organization to register themselves as hosts. So, the preponderance of the work that we do in partnering with other nonprofits, at least, for the next couple of years, is going to be focused on working with big nonprofits. But I think in the long run, unleashing the power of social entrepreneurs is just going to be vital to our success. Number two, part of what we're trying to do is, part of the reason AmeriCorps took off 25 years ago is the fact that it was a generation filled with Wendy Copps and Alan Casey's and Michael Browns, and these people that started programs that have hit a point of tremendous scale today and have poised the national service movement to kind of reach new heights. And we talk about it a lot around the office. Like, we think that the time is now where 20 years from now it's going to be this generation where you say, oh, that's where
definitely. Yeah, and I think there's a lot of people online that want to be that. So thank you so much, Jay. We're going to bring in Josh in a second, but thanks for coming on, and thanks for all the work that you do. We appreciate it. Talk soon.